Okay, I'm ready to go live, but I'm going to tell you, I think there's a couple things that are dead.
Yeah, what's dead?
The Steelers' offense.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, who didn't know that?
Okay, so
Well,
this is like a Monday morning quarterback where we get to be right about everything and wrong about nothing. So it was interesting because I'm the first bite for my lunch today is I'm going to get some salt and pepper and I'm going to eat crow.
okay, tell me how.
I'm going to eat crow because I came across with Chelsea and Hannah, we came across an old video, not that old, where my prediction was the Steelers will win the division. And I said it
Yeah.
to you and I've said it to everybody. And I'm embarrassed by it now.
Why are you embarrassed? It's just a prediction.
Yeah, but I believed wholeheartedly. I really believed it. I really did. I never saw this team unraveling like it has to me. I call this an unravel. How do you see it?
They are what they always were, a 500 team with a quarterback that was an average quarterback in the NFL, and now he's hurt. And team that can't get out of his way and gets outplanned and out schemed by people.
Okay, so I'm going to go back just a really quick minute, but
They're stale. They're stale.
I don't think he's average. I don't think the quarterback's average. I think everybody's average until they're not average. For example, when Ben Roethlisberger came in, when Tommy Maddox went down, and Ben Roethlisberger came in, I mean, I know for a fact they just told him, don't lose the game. Just manage the game. They plugged him into a system. He was very fortunate, but he was not average. He was average until he wasn't. And until he wasn't means until he had time on his side to grow, develop, mature, and to understand the position that he was in. So I don't think Kenny Pickett's average at the end of the line. I think he's average at the beginning of the line. So I would still say Kenny Pickett's the guy. That I believe that. But what I will not, and I do not want to be like the rest of the world. I hate that. I'd like to be different, but I can't be different in this particular instance because I just don't think Matt Canada is the right guy. And one of the things that bothers me, this is not a monologue, and I apologize because I'm
No, go ahead.
passionately talking about it. As I'm watching the game, and who called the game? The two announcers that called the game.
Yeah, Spiro, Dides, and someone else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
the
so
CBS game.
yeah, and they were talking about meeting with Matt Canada earlier in the week, and Matt Canada telling them this team is not built to come from behind. I wanted to jump through that screen and reach it and see if I could reach Matt Canada and shake him by his head and say, "What's the matter with you? What a dumb statement, Matt. That was a dumb statement. How could you? That's telling the world that we're not a good team. That you don't have, as the offensive coordinator, you don't have the faith in. And frankly, that team, any team, should be able to start strong, finish strong. Doesn't matter what it is. But if you sit there and you tell me, this is what I'd say if I were Mike Tomlin. This is what I'm doing, and this is why. Because you don't believe, and it reflects in everything you've done. So you don't believe, and I don't believe now. Goodbye. Have a nice life. That's what I'd tell Matt Canada.
Fair point. I just would have never hired him in the first place.
Okay, but you did. But you did. We hired him. He's here. So now we have to take it.
And then I wouldn't have retained him into another year, which, again, you're going to say, well, they did. And you're right. It was a flawed concept from the beginning that was never going to work, that was easily identifiable, Richard. I mean, there's just nothing around that.
But let's get to the real point. I mean, they drafted Kenny Pickett. He's worked with Matt Canada before, right?
Yeah, they overdrafted Kenny Pickett in my estimation. There was no quarterback of the 9 drafted or whatever in the 2022 draft that was worthy of being a first-round quarterback.
Yes, I get that. And I'm not sure I agree with that either. But
the best one has been the last one taken.
Who was it?
Brock Purdy.
Who?
Brock Purdy in San Francisco.
Yeah, I love Brock.
But anyway.
That was the year before.
No, he was 2022. He was the last quarterback taken in the draft, the last man taken in the draft.
No, not this year.
In the draft that Pickett was in.
Yes, right. 2 drafts ago.
Right,
yeah.
2 drafts ago.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, so what do you think the problem is? Have you heard anything is pick it out for the year?
No, he's not out for the year. From what I've heard, he's out 1 to 4 weeks, and it's a slight sprain. Nothing official yet. We'll find out from Mike Tomlin. But he's going to miss some time, which now brings you into focus with the question of which backup do you play? And I don't necessarily have a lot of confidence in either one at this point.
Oh, I like Mitch Trubisky. I liked him from before. I like Mitch Trubisky. I do. Um, um, the thing that bothers me about the Steelers is, you watch and people talk about rhythm and all that. This is system, whether it's Joe Montana, whether it's Steve Young, whether it's whoever it is in San Francisco, always had a system. And how do you build a quarterback's confidence? You short passes, boom, boom, boom. How do you stop a line like that? The same way they did to us, right? Same way they did to us. They, screen passes.
The screen passes. What I marvel at yesterday, instead of trying to find a workaround and instead of trying to nail a square peg into a round hole,
Yeah.
Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator of the Houston Texans, said, we are going to take what you do best.
Yep.
Allow you to do it.
Yep.
Rush. We're going to let you get upfield and dump it behind your pass rushers and scream you to death.
Yes. But you see, that takes a strategy.
And ingenuity.
And you know what I want more than anything in the world, and I shouldn't say this because it's not age discrimination, but I want somebody young and unproven. I want to see somebody come in that doesn't have 20 years experience, that is willing to take a chance, that says, like the quarterback or like the head coach in Miami, like Spilatro in what's his name? The basketball coach in Miami.
Spoelstra.
The young guys, the guys that are unproven, untested, the guys that are willing to step up and say, I want to do this differently because what you're doing isn't working. I'm really adamant about this, by the way.
The thing that the Miami head coach and the thing that the offensive coordinator and the head coach of Houston have in common altogether. So the head coach of Houston, the offensive coordinator from Houston, and the Miami head coach all have in common that they work for Shanahan. All young guys that walk in and make it a video game pretty much. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers simply don't employ, especially on the offensive side of the ball, coaches that are on a trajectory that are young, hot, whippersnapper kind of coaches, Richard. They don't.
Look, go to hockey. Go to hockey.
Right.
Look at Kyle. How about Kyle? Right?
Right.
Everybody I talk to, and I know so many people inside that organization, every single person respects him, loves him. They love his innovation. They love the way he thinks. And he's a young hotshot. And that's what we need. And that's what we need on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I hope that Mike Tomlin didn't overpromise and under delivers, because he did say change is coming. So what's that mean? Oh, I'm going to start Joey Porter. That's not change. That's just intelligent. But the thing people were criticizing Mike Tomlin for not starting Joey Porter, and I heard his pregame interview, and somebody asked him that in the pregame, and I thought his pregame interview made a lot of sense. You can ruin a guy by putting him in too fast, right? So we give him single focus. You're going to work. You're going to be a third down back. You're going to be a dime back. You're going to be this. You're going to be that. And these are the things that you need to do and do them well. Once you do them and do them well, then we'll move to the next progression. And so I think that was their plan. It is their plan. Nobody knows Joey Porter better than Mike Tomlin. Nobody. Dino and his son are very good friends. Mike and Joey Porter Sr. are very good friends. They're like, it probably calls him uncle. That's how close they are. So nobody knows him better. So I think that I did not find fault with any of that. I do find fault with Patrick Peterson. I do find fault with hiring somebody that we say we're going to have him mentor our other guys. That's called a coach. Okay. If you want to mentor somebody, let's put the right coach in. But in terms of being a player, you've seen him get beat more than once. And now is that a decline in speed? Listen, all salutes to the guy, hats off. You pay homage to him. He's had a great career, but I don't think he's showing you he's not the guy right now. So
no, he's washed up. He's done. He's finished. I mean, he is.
You say that easier than I can because you see that more. But I will tell you, I was so frustrated watching that game. I was violent and vocal, and it was so disturbing.
It
So
just
what's the
is.
solution right now? Steps 1, 2,
Well,
and 3. What do you do?
first of all, there's one more part of the problem to point out. The overall philosophy, the feeling, everything with the Pittsburgh Steelers is simply stale. Like they think they're going to win football games by running out on the field and their logo being what it is, and it's not true. But to the solution,
Well, wait, before you get to the solution and saying that, because this deals with motivation. Also, Trubisky said the Steelers are not playing with heart. I'm not sure what he means by that, but I'd push it and I'd ask him what he means by that. And I also did notice, and I will not name any numbers, although I know them, where I thought I don't know about half-hearted, but I thought the effort, like they'd give up on a play, which I thought was too soon. Maybe somebody going around the end, and maybe instead they just stopped chasing. I don't know. I saw that a lot. I don't know who is the defensive coordinator for us.
Oh, Terrell Austin, who is another, a guy that won't get a head coaching job in the NFL, a guy that's not riding out a career, but the ambition isn't there to try to rise in the business. This is the peak for him at this point, which that's not a bad thing, but they don't hire coaches on a trajectory to try to get somewhere else. Yeah. That's a problem.
I mean, Brian Flores should have been our defensive coordinator, frankly.
You're right.
I mean, I really do.
Right.
And I don't know why he wasn't.
So the solutions. You asked about the solutions.
Yep.
Well,
3.
The first one is you've hit it like 20 times already today. Ingenuity. Nobody ever plays when the Steelers have the football and the other team's on defense. Nobody ever plays defense defensively. The other defense is never surprised. They never play on their heels. It always seems like everybody knows what the Steelers are going to do offensively.
But is that just because the plays that are being called are not executed well? Because I'm with you, Broderick Jones, man, he looked awful.
Can I tell you why I can't go there for that?
Why?
It's because the Steelers never have success on the first drive, and the first drive is scripted all week. You know what you're going to do on the first drive. So that's a play calling situation.
Yeah, you may know, but that doesn't mean they know. And yeah, I mean, I can remember Kenny Wisenhunt, the first 10 plays, he knew his first 10 plays. But I don't know. I just think sometimes, do we have the right players?
Well, Kenny Pickett's grossly overmatched. And if Kenny Pickett went to San Jose State and not the University of Pittsburgh, we'd look at him much differently. I've said that since day one. He has a certain cachet that's not earned, that's just that he has, that's defaulted because he went to the University of Pittsburgh. And if he went somewhere else, people would be calling for him to be benched or worse at this point. He was given a amount of cachet in this city, an amount of juice in this city, and never really proved it on the field.
I don't know. Mike Tomlin said he watched him for 5 years. I mean, he knew what he was getting. Mike watched him for 5 years, share a facility. He said it yesterday in his pregame interview.
The greatest college quarterback in the history of college football couldn't cut it in the NFL, and that's Tim Tebow.
But everybody in the league knew that he wasn't going to be a success. That's why he wasn't. No, he was a joke. But Mike Tomlin said, actually, I think he said 7 years he watched him. How many years did he play for Pitt? Who knows? But he said he watched him and he knew what he was drafting. So, I mean, that's a pretty bold statement. So it wasn't a surprise. And, Mike Tomlin knows what he's talking about. But, if I got to think that Mike Tomlin, if it were me, I would actually start thinking, maybe I need to make the decision. Maybe I need a fresh start somewhere. I don't know. I mean, I would certainly never fire Mike Tomlin ever. But if I'm Mike Tomlin, I'm starting to get pretty frustrated. Maybe it's the system. I don't know. Maybe it's the ownership. Maybe there's a lot of maybes. But
I certainly wouldn't have Mike Tomlin be the guy who determines how long he works here. I think that
I think he is.
sometimes, he definitely is. Longevity right now and being miscast as complacency. And I don't at all like it. You know, the Steelers sell.
But I watched Bill Belichick last night. I think it's time for him to move.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
We're seeing what he is without Tom Brady.
Well, and part of everybody's success in life, regardless of whether it's on the football field, baseball field, Schultz Ford, or whatever, is putting the right people, matching the people with the right position. Because you could have a great person that's in the wrong position, and they're not going to succeed. And I've even heard Mike say, we put our people in the best position to win. So I think that Bill Belichick, when you mentioned the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, maybe not a lot of people would have even drafted him number 600. Maybe some people wouldn't have seen what Bill Belichick saw in him. So it's not necessarily fair to say Bill Belichick seeing what life is like without Tom Brady. Tom Brady, to me, honestly, I look at Tom Brady like he's an ass. I look at him in the way he's conducting himself right now, and I just can't even believe it. This was the guy that I looked up to. I wanted to be like him, look like him, talk like him, throw like him. I wanted to be everything like him. That's not true. I didn't, but
yeah, right.
Sounded good. But he's coming. He's showing who he really is. But this isn't about Tom Brady. So that's step one. So you said something, but you didn't give me a step. So what's step one?
Step one is getting rid of Matt Canada at the bye week.
All right. Write it down. Matt Canada. Second.
Getting rid of him at the bye week. Step two is in the bye week having an open and honest quarterback competition for who's going to play the rest of the year, and not necessarily gracing and giving Kenny Pickett if he's healthy. Now, if he's not healthy, that takes that away. Not necessarily granting him the franchise quarterback moniker moving forward, because he has not earned it. It's okay. It's okay to bench people at other positions. Why is it not okay to bench the quarterback?
I didn't know you when Ben Roethlisberger became our starting quarterback, but how did you feel about him?
He was much more ballyhooed out of college. He was also much bigger, and he ripped through a lot of wins early in his career.
But let me ask you a question. How many years did Ben Roethlisberger start as the Miami of Ohio quarterback?
2.5, like 2.5 or 3.
Yeah. So he really wasn't a proven entity, was he?
But his senior year, like, everybody knew who he was. Same with Kenny Pickett.
He had one good year. Kenny Pickett had one great year.
Ben Roethlisberger was also 6'5", 240 pounds.
He wasn't when he started.
Oh, no, he's a string bean.
Yeah. Okay. So Kenny Pickett, how tall is he? 6'2", 6'3"?
But it was Ben Roethlisberger and Phil Rivers and the Manning. Like, everybody, he was right there.
Philip Rivers, I wouldn't have hired Philip Rivers for anything. I think he never won anything. And Eli Manning, nice kid, nice family, nothing. So
2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but would you have him?
He seemed to be along for the ride for the Super Bowls, but he still won them.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I just, so circumstances so important. CJ Stroud, to me, I mean, I thought he looked pretty great. And the one
CJ Stroud has done more in 4 games than Kenny Pickett has done in 17.
Okay, but there's no surrounding cast. Here's what really makes me crazy. What really makes me crazy is when I hear, well, they really need Deontay. Why? The man didn't catch a freaking touchdown pass last year. But yet we're going to say, man, we're not playing great because we really missed Deontay. How can you miss Deontay? But what you can do is say, why aren't we focused more on George Pickens? Why aren't we focused more? Where's our tight end? Freiermuth, I mean, I got to tell you, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some missteps with him, but now he's hurt anyway. What happened to the 6'8" tight end?
He doesn't play. He doesn't get in the game. And Freiermuth had a big penalty again yesterday, too. A gigantic penalty that took a big gain away that a veteran, and he's a veteran at this point, shouldn't make.
Tell me something. Tell me how we don't know, because the biggest thing, and it hurt Kenny Pickett, The biggest problem I have from yesterday, just looking at the game and hearing the explanation on the 4th and 1 call. How can you not know, and whose fault is it, where the spot of the ball was before you made that decision to go for it? Because that was what I heard. Did you hear that same thing?
Yes.
We made a mistake. We didn't know. We thought that ball was spotted somewhere else.
Tomlin has never had someone, this is problematic, and I've said it for a long time. He has never had someone help him with challenges, and he has never had someone help him in the real time of the football game.
Well, wait, first of all, then that brings me back to the second thing, because I think the offensive coordinator's ass should be on the field. Okay? I don't think he should be sitting up in a booth. That's just me personal. I want old school. I want to see it, feel it, touch it. I want to know it. So that's number one. Number two, is it Mike Tomlin, or should his offensive coordinator have known? If he's sitting up in the clouds and he's got all the monitors, who should have known? Because the play call was based on where the ball was, right?
A 4th and 1 call at that juncture in the game, that all 4th and 1 calls, the head coach has veto power over it and knows what's going on, no matter what side of the ball they're on.
Okay, that's an assumption. When Mike Tomlin says, we thought the ball was going to be put somewhere else. We thought the ball spot was somewhere else. Man, come on. Come on. Like, you're talking about that change. That was a pivotal point in the whole game, right?
Who got the quarterback killed? Yes, it was a pivotal part. It was a pivotal point in the season. The quarterback might be out for a month.
Yeah, and by the way, we're not built to come from behind.
But listen, the Steelers have the smallest staff in the NFL. They have the smallest amount of people working for them in game as a staff.
I want to appeal to the Steelers' minority owner, Thomas Tull. You've heard me talk about him. Thomas, I know through reputation that you're a no-nonsense winner. Step in. Do something. How can you let somebody tell you we're not built to come from behind?
Say it on the record.
What?
Say it on the record to the masses.
Say it on the record to two national broadcasters. We had dinner with Matt Canada. Matt Canada said, yeah, this team isn't meant to come from behind. What?
I'm at the point where I don't get mad anymore because I know what's coming.
I can't talk about this team. They're making me crazy.
You have a great week.
Oh, my God. Thank you. Now you got my heart going again.
That was the point.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't need that.